Hey everyone, Sawmill Charlie. Well, I know Bob is socked in with the hurricane coming up the coast, and Lee is, I'll call it, recovering from the heat down in there where he's at. I think it was close to 100 degrees today. So I seen everybody wanting something to do tonight. Hey, Roy. And hey, Phil. I haven't seen you for quite a while. Hey there, Brian. And so I figured I'd come on, give somebody to do. It's supposed to be storming outside here, but hey, honeybee compound, Charlie to the rescue. Yeah, something like that. Anything? Let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put up the link for folks to get in, and all that. Well, it looks like, sounds like the storm is coming here for me. We need some rain. Luckily, it isn't lightning out. And we got rid of that. There we go. Come on. There we go. Looks like everybody's on tonight. Let's see. All right, there's the link. Everybody can come in now. Keep me company. I got a looking at the weather forecast here, everyone. Anyway, yep, now we're getting some rain. So, let's see. We got Didette, Roy, Rodney, Vincent, Wayfarm Channel. Hey, good to see you. You're obviously new, I think. Of course, this is not my normal night. Oh, you're from Kenya, Africa. All right, Larimore Farms. Hey, what's happening? So the link is up, folks. Somebody come on in and keep me company. How about you, Phil? I haven't talked to you in a long time. Or Brian. Yeah, Brian, that storm is coming through here right this moment. Luckily, no lightning. Just we really need to rain something terrible. Driving work, listening for a few. Okay, I see. Jump on the old train. I see, Phil. Let's see. So anyway, we've been getting some rain, which is greatly appreciated. Not too much. It's supposed to get it over this weekend for this storm that Bob's getting it right now. All right, Larimore, you can come on in. I got my piece of cheese right here. So he's going to say he's going to get done eating and come on in. I guess only update for me on my bees. If you notice, the back picture's changed. That's the latest picture of part of the apiary where all my production hives are. They're all, most of them, 3 mediums for the winter configuration. They got yeah. Yeah, Phil needs to take us for a ride. Let's see if Mr. Ken is coming from Kenya, I think. So anyway, the last video I put out, I had that queen that was in a 10 frame hive that I inadvertently shook in, which was fine. I checked it here, I think it was Saturday, and it's been a week and a half, and she's not laying at all. I got a queen ordered. My club that I am the president of was going down to a queen breeder in a couple hours from where we live, and so I got a new queen coming in. I think that the queen, I don't know. She looks good. She looks like she's mated, pretty good size and all that, but she just doesn't, she's not laying. Hey, Matt. And not laying. She's been in there long enough. Everybody else is laying. Everybody else has got eggs, even though it's been, terribly hot and stuff like that. So I think she's just more of a dud. And I want my production hives to be up and running in full force come springtime of next year. I don't want to have to go through what I did this year as far as replacing queens. And luckily, to my surprise, they turned my honey production around 180 degrees and gave me 1,000 pounds, as much as I got last year. And that was quite amazing and all that. But it just shows you how good young queens are, highly vigorous and prolific, which in turn makes a great hive. Always remember, try to switch her to another hive and see if she starts. I don't know. I got to thinking about that too, Rodney. I checked the nuke that she came out of, and then like I was in my video, I found another queen. Now that queen is a dark queen. It's a carniolan for sure, and it actually looks like the queens that I buy in from Kudix, and I'm pretty sure that is a Kudik queen. It's still in that nuke. And hey, Steve. So are you back in town, or are you still cruising around the ocean in Mexico? And I thought about that, swapping the queens back and forth, but I don't know. I'm going to check them Thursday and see whether or not she's laying. If she's not, I'm going to pull her out. And hey, Brian from Flower Street. And I might put her in a 2-frame mating box or something like that. But, and then introduce that new queen. It'll be about 4 or 5 days. But thing of it is, the inside that hive, there is no viable eggs, larvae, brood. I mean, there are some cat brood that I think I put frames of that in with her. Leaving in 3 weeks for Alaska, really. And oh man, what a cruising guy! I tell you, I'd like to go to. A friend of mine just got back from Alaska, where they did so many days of cruising and so many days on land, and went up to Juneau. I'd like to do that myself. Really, Rodney's here saying that you swapped them around like that, and then everything was good, huh? Well, maybe I ought to do that. Maybe, Hey, DC. But yeah, I don't know. I've learned a good lesson this year as far as queens goes. Queens are, they are, what would you call it? if they're not performing, get rid of them. Great trip, third time. All right, so you've been to Alaska 3 times, huh? Yeah, I seen some pictures from my friend Lloyd, and they did the small cruise trip that you could go up to Glacier Bay, get close to the glacier, and all that, compared to a larger ship. And it was beautiful up there. It was a place. That's some scenery I like to see. Now I've been watching James out through the Grand Canyon, like he was showing today, in Hoover Dam, and I've been to those places, many years ago. And it's just staying alongside the edge of the Grand Canyon. Kind of hard to fathom how big that hole in the ground is, because the width of the 2 banks apart, there's about a mile or more wide, I guess, and everything there. So Dave's Hughes brothers up in Alaska. Okay. Do you have all Southern queens? Well, the ones I got in there now are all from South Carolina, so I guess you would call that. And Randy, let's see what he put that up here. I extracted 1,123 pounds from my last pull. That's nice. Real nice. The final numbers on mine was 1,010 pounds. Now, last year I think it was 975 pounds and all. And Flower Street, Brian, we're about 2,000 pounds so far. Well, that's good, Brian. That way you'll probably still run out of all your honey and all what you're doing with it at your different weekend shows that you're doing and everything. There's JW. Come to save me. Fine looking Black Angus there. Mr. Ken, you're on the screen here, but it says that you don't have a mic or a camera in order to be able to.
Can you hear me now? I'm just getting settled.
Yeah, you're fine. I can hear you.
Looked like you might need someone to talk to, so I thought.
Yeah, well, I thought everybody was looking for a place to hang out tonight. So I know Bob said that their electricity down there and the internet services, could be a little bit.
I imagine that storm's just
a little bit shaky in that storm. Hey, Richard. And and then I contacted Lee, and he said it was like almost 100 degrees, and he's burned out, literally burned out because of the heat. So I think he's had some back issues or something here recently, I think.
Yeah.
So he's taking a break. And there's Carl. Hey, Carl. So, hey, Russell. So that's what's happening. So up here, well, it's just, we got some rain coming in here right now, and it's, I don't know what it's let up now. It sounds like it has, but at least I'll take any rain we can get and get the grass growing.
Well, we're just recovering from a lot of rain. We had all of ours in the last week. I had 6 inches in 72 hours here.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we've just been getting, the last 2 months is kind of non-measurable rain. And you might get 50 minutes, of a hard downpour, and that's it, and then it's hot and humid and baking the ground. Hey, Tar Heel, Randy. So this week we've got a chance of getting some rain on a daily basis, and Steve's saying his clover's popping and stuff. Just today, for the folks that don't know, there he is, Brad.
Hey, Brad.
I've started to see a little bit more lantern flies. I've seen 2 or 3 today. It was a couple weeks ago I seen one. So it seems like the adults are starting to kick in here for us. I know some of you folks don't even know what I'm talking about. It's an invasive species that came in from China. We don't have any rocks or boulders or stone in this country. We have to buy it all from China. And that's why, let me get this darn camera focused out. And the larvae came in on rock shipping out of wherever.
You need to refocus, Charlie. You're blurry.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe.
There we go.
Yeah.
So anyway, what they do is they tap into, they'll decimate a vineyard around here, like we have grapes and stuff. They'll kill it because they excrete, I'll say, like a sugar water, which in turn gets on the leaves, which in turn makes a fungus on the leaves and kills the plant. Now the trees, they'll get on the trees and they'll suck out the basically nectar out of the trees somehow and excrete it out onto the limbs. And of course the bees grab it and make honey. So Brad, what's happening down in the cool state?
Yeah, I wish it was cool.
Down there, what's it, about 100 degrees down there?
It was 101 today in my area. Man. The bees were bearding like crazy.
Something else.
You open up some hives, there's hardly no bees inside. They're all hanging on the outside.
Yeah, that's my case also.
Yeah.
My index 103 here today. It's miserable.
It was, I think it was in the 90s today, but it felt like 100 and some. It's supposed to be humidity wise. Now the next several days is supposed to back off the humidity and everything like that.
Yeah, I think we got. We're gonna have like 101 tomorrow, and then it's gonna be 100 the next day, and then the next week I think we're gonna have a cool front coming through because the high is like 95.
That's a cool front.
Yeah.
Hey, Joseph.
When you walk outside in Louisiana, it's like somebody hit you with a hot mop.
You can have that. I don't know how you guys stand. I guess you just get used to it.
You gotta get up early if you want to work outside and work yourself into the day. Because if you decide to wake up late or stay inside and you decide to go outside after that heat done already hit, you done for. It's like I'm going back inside. So you gotta get up early and start out early.
Look at Russell there. There we go. There's a 54 degrees Fahrenheit last night. The high today was 76. Dry air and light breeze. Really?
I think that's supposed to come down through here from Russell's area. They're giving a high here in the low 80s tomorrow. So hopefully I'm ready for some of it. It's been miserable hot and humid around here.
Oh yeah.
Not too hot to work in your bees.
All right, Russell's up in Minnesota up there. Yeah, that's the problem with Minnesota there. It's fine and dandy right now, but it's a freezer box come wintertime.
Yeah.
Solid block of ice.
Yeah, a friend of mine, she lives up that way. Here comes Josephine. Hey, Joseph.
Hey, Joseph.
What y'all doing?
Hey.
I turned on the YouTube and I said, dang, Bob done changed.
Yeah. Got better looking, didn't he?
I didn't even get a notice.
He lost his hair.
Now,
and he's eating cheese.
Was it one of the folks was asking whether or not anybody was gonna go on tonight, and I know Bob is right in the middle of that storm.
Yeah,
I texted Lee. Lee said he wasn't going on. He was wore out from the heat today. So I figured, well, I'd come on, see who can come on, keep me company and all that. Is that one of your prize?
That's an old prize bull, Charlie. That's right there at Nobby. That picture, that was a yearling bull that I won the North American International Livestock Exposition with that bull in 2015.
Hmm.
That's my last show bull, really, when I started slowing down.
Really? Hey, Tom.
Hey,
Hey,
Tom.
everyone. I
Hey,
just got home
Catherine.
from golf.
So when you win something like that there, JW, the only way you make the money is sell it to somebody else?
Yeah, or sell the semen, collect the semen, sell semen off of them. That's about the only way. Only people that, to be honest with you, the only people that's usually really impressed by that is the guy that's showing the bull. You know, other people could care less. You know, a lot of them. But
My little brother, when he was in 4-H, he used to show Black Angus, and he had a bull that came in second or third in the state. Well, some guy wanted to purchase him for a breeding bull, and they was going to pay like $8,000 for him. Wrote the check out at the show. We got him back home and sperm tested him. He was throwing blanks.
yeah,
We had to give the check back. Mom and Daddy had to give the check back because he was no more good than a butcher.
well, I used to sell a lot of them all over the country, but I'm out of business now. I got too old and decrepit to push them bulls around all the time. So,
Oh, they beautiful animals, but they some work.
yeah.
All right, I got Mr. Ken is trying to get in. It says here you need to connect your mic and camera before you can add, or I can add you into the stream. So there you go. If you don't have a camera or a microphone, you can't be able to get on a live part.
He might not be
Not
allowing.
my rules, but I don't know. Not huh?
He might not be hitting the allow button to allow the camera and the mic access.
I don't know. I think he's from Kenya, so I don't know whether they got an internet service over there. I guess.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure, yeah.
Them satellites go everywhere.
Hey,
Everybody got their
talking
honey
about
off.
the bulls.
Yeah.
Huh?
Talking about the bulls, my dad and his neighbor. Dad went with his neighbor to take a bull to the sale one time, and before he run it through, a man come out there and asked him how much he wanted. And he told him, I don't remember what the number was. He told him what he'd take for him right now, and the man said, "No," he said, "I tell you what I do. I give you such and such a pound for it. We'll go weigh him." He said, "All right, we'll do that." They went and weighed him. He ended up having to pay more for the bull than the man asked for to begin with.
Yeah.
That muscle's heavy. When I was little, we had a Brahma, and my dad was working, and he had his brother and stuff moving our cows from our old location to our new location where my dad built the house at. And he told his brothers, he says, move a couple of the heifers and stuff over there first, then bring the bull. Well, they didn't listen. They caught the bull because he was already in the pen. They caught the bull, brought him over to the new spot, turned him loose in the field. Well, just a ways across, a couple of fields over, was a dairy. That bull ran around that. I'll never forget. He ran around that field, threw his nose up in the air, and started jumping fences. My dad came home from work. He had to go catch him in the dairy cows. He jumped 5 or 6 fences to get to that herd of cows. Let me tell you what, that dairy owner, he wasn't too happy when he got over there. But them bulls, they can jump higher than you think. They like a dang deer sometimes. They want to go, they're gonna jump.
They can jump it, but most of the time they can push it down too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Agile than you think.
I used to hate that. That was my job. We had fencing in that go through the woods, and I had to walk that fence in the afternoons after school to make sure none of them had got out and make sure none of them had tore up the fence anywhere. That was cows were just aggravating because, like those sayings, they always think the grass is green on the other side of the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And once a cow gets his head through a fence, it don't matter how tight that barbed wire is, he's gonna work his way through it. He's gonna push through it. It was just something else. A lot of work.
So let's have a bee report from everybody. What's everybody? I mean, Brad, I know that you had queen issues or whatever it was. I believe it was last
Yeah.
video I've seen.
Yeah, I went ahead and like I told you, I had bought them queen cells because that one queen had tore down all my cells I grafted. So I bought some queen cells, and I just checked in on one or two of them, and I seen I had one mated, and then two of them, they didn't accept the queen cells. They tore them down, I guess, before they hatched, or they hatched and they didn't come back because I seen they had remade their own queen cells. And when I was pulling the frame out, on one frame, the queen was coming out the egg. No, I take that back. I'm sorry. I seen the egg open, the cell open, and I looked on the frame, and there she was. She had just came out. So a little blonde queen. I flipped the frame over, and another queen was coming out the other side, and it was a solid black little queen. So I just took her and I moved her over to the other one that I didn't find a queen in, and I just walked her in because she had just hatched. So hopefully they take her. But I was a little early. They were. I seen some queens, but they wasn't all mated or hadn't come back yet. So I'm gonna give it about another week. Then I'll go back and check them. And then I also made up my. I went ahead and grafted some more. I made up another starter hive just to make one more round. So whichever one of these queens don't make it, I'll go ahead and drop a cell in those 3 framers again. Just trying to make some last queens before the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing, JW? Anything in your bees now?
I can't do anything for the dragonflies. I tried to take a little video just on my camera of the dragonflies, and they didn't show up. If I've got one, I've got 2,000 in my. They're just sitting on top of my hives, waiting for the bees to come out so they can snap them. I mean, I'm loaded with dragonflies.
You got rid of all the raccoons that ate the dragonflies.
Sir?
You got rid of all the raccoons that ate the dragonflies.
Yeah, I have. I've quit trapping raccoons. I think I finally got control of them.
Now, Matt here, he's infested, but he's got 10 to 15 mite washes on mite washes. I'll tell you something, Matt. If you got it that tight, I would hit them with OA and knock them down. Hit them a couple times, about, I don't know, 4 or 5 days apart with OA, and maybe then go with the formic.
When it gets cooler.
Huh?
Yeah, when it gets a little bit cooler.
Yeah, I don't know. Matt's up there around in New York. Let's see. But he's up around Buffalo. I don't know what the weather is. I don't know what the weather is up that way. But I would knock them down with some formic, or not. I mean, with some OA treatments, and then put the formic in there. You know, kind of help that out. I mean, formic is basically, remember, it's for the brood where I'll say 80% of your mites are at. That kind of stuff. Now we got Doug here up in Saskatchewan, there, Canada. I got one big question for Doug. When I seen that video today, and you had all them, I don't know whether they were empty honey boxes that the bees were all over on their edges, or were they the ones you're harvesting? And all. I don't know whether there's a delay on my sound or not.
I think he's froze.
He don't act like
Looks froze. Yeah.
He's froze. Yeah, he's froze.
He's off.
But that's what I would do, Matt. I would hit it with OA first. Knock that mite population down. and then go in with a formant, and then be careful with your darn temperatures. I like it 80 degrees or less. The instructions say 85, but I like it 80. I like it more like 75 if it's able to do that.
Yeah, the first 3 days. I think after that, it's not so critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets. Yeah, you're right. I'd say 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
Where if we get cooled down, I'm going to start my
Hey, Todd.
tomorrow.
Start your
Bob,
what?
if you want to come in, you can come in. I'll allow you in.
What did you say, JW?
I'm going to use Apricard starting tomorrow. If it cools down, I've been holding off the last few days because it's been bitter hot. It's been heat index been well over 100. I didn't want to.
That stuff don't penetrate the caps, does it?
No, I don't think so. Like Pharmac Pro is supposed to be more of a breakdown. Get rid of them faster. But
It's a time.
I'll do that later.
You put it in twice every 2 weeks, 2 times.
Yeah.
I believe it's 2 weeks, 10 to 14 days, something like that.
Yeah. There's Matt's question. You can use that. I won't say it's the best to use.
I've used it before.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it. I mean, that's what oxalic
That's
acid
basically
is.
what it is.
Yeah.
I always bought mine from Florida Labs. And
That's like the little can that I use to hold my oxalic acid in is a wood bleach can. And because you only get it in the bags, and when I had the little wand, I just needed that little small container, so I bought that container of wood bleach, and then now I just refill that little wood bleach container.
yeah, I use a peanut can.
Yeah.
Doug, can you hear us?
Yeah, I went to my phone, Charlie.
Yeah, your picture's a lot better too.
Well, they connected us up to new fiber optic cable here, and it hasn't been worth a crap. I can't get anything on it.
Oh Lord, they fixing to hook us up to that too.
What's that? Fiber?
Fiber.
That's what I got.
Right now, we get it through a cable, like your regular coaxial cable.
Right.
Yeah.
They run in fiber all over the state. In
Well,
Louisiana.
that's I mean, around here they hooked us up. It's no problem. Now he's going out again.
Yeah, they've been in my neighborhood with boring machines, and they've got every sewer line and every water line. The utility companies are nonstop trying to.
The one that I'm connected to right here at this house, the connection happened to be right out at the corner of the property, and I'm the only one on the line. You're back. All right, a quick question. I watched your video. The boxes that were stood up on their sides, were they full of honey?
You betcha.
Well, I don't quite understand why you let all that robbing going on. I figured you'd be like Ian because you got the same kind of machine where you put the escapes on and then you just pick the whole thing up and put it on the truck.
There's no robbing going on, Charlie. When we set them like that, it takes about 3 or 4 hours, and those honey supers are pretty well empty. There's still a flow on here, so there's no robbing at all.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when you had the boxes up with the frames are going up and down like that, they were full of honey, right?
Yeah.
So you set them off like that, and then you lifted them by hand up on. It's gone again.
I call that robbing. That's always robbing.
I think they blow their bees out of the.
Yeah.
They turn them up. I didn't see escape boards on his.
Yeah, I think that's what he said one other time that he said we just blow them out. I guess maybe that's what it is. They took them off the high, put them on the ground like that, and then they're blowing them out.
Yeah, that's what he did.
And then putting them on the truck.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I do a lot of that.
Yeah.
Well, mine, I put a foam board on, and then I, let it sit there for 2 or 3 minutes. Flip that, and I'll say 90% of them are gone, and then I blow them out and put it on the truck.
Right.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I do.
I watched this video.
If
That's
you
what
board them, then I blow them.
he had one guy stacking them on his side, and then he had
That was
another
just-
guy with a blow on his back. He came back and blew him, and then other guy would come back and take him and stack him on the lift.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That makes more sense. I didn't see that part yet. The one
Yeah.
doing the blowing. I seen where he had walked through the apiary after they had closed them up. And the other one was the honey supers were out on the ground, standing up on their edge, and they were backing the truck up or something like that.
Yeah. When Ian does his last pull, I've seen, like when he puts his last boxes for the season, that's when he gets a lot of robbing. After those sunflowers are done, I've seen a couple of videos a couple years back. They have to use a torque because even after they stack them on the truck, I mean, it's just bees everywhere.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that too.
Yeah, I saw that too, Brad.
But like
As you
right
mentioned.
now, as long as they got and same thing with us. I mean, when I got a flow going on, when we pull them, it's once you blow them out, I stack them on my little cart and I don't get any robbing.
Yeah, I was pulling mine, and I think there was still a flow on of some sort, and I didn't really have too much problem.
Mhm.
And then the other, I mean, maybe I could have waited longer and all that, but on the other hand, the highs behind me there, I normally put that third medium back on there for the winter, and I came back in a couple weeks after a real super hot spell we had, and it's all full of nectar, which is fine. I mean, that's that much less I don't have to feed them,
Mhm.
and I achieved the amount of honey I wanted anyway. So it worked out.
It's amazing how fast they can, when they're not on a flow, how fast they can find your honey that you like. I set out a bucket today that I bottled some honey, and I just set the bucket on the back porch, and I was going to go back and haul it to my shed to clean it. I went inside 10, 15 minutes. I came out and that was hundreds of bees at it because there's nothing going on right now over here. It's dry, hot, and the bees are they looking for anything they can find.
Well,
There's Doug's reply, Charlie. I guess you
Huh?
did. There's Doug's reply.
yeah, okay. Stack them, then within about 4 hours, all the bees have leave the boxes and go back to the hive, and then. All right, so they're on. That's the bee. That's the four or honeybees that are on there, and then they go back to the main hive. They're sitting on honey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then he says, and he follows up with, if it's a no flow situation, can't do that. All right, that's cool. And then here's another. This is the fastest way to pull honey. All right.
You ever tried to
Yeah.
blow some out that you didn't know they had brood in the box?
I did that this year.
They don't want to let go. I was blowing.
Yeah,
some.
but you know what was really bad, Brad? It was like that last hive on behind me there at the end of the field, that yellow one.
Uh-huh.
I got done. We didn't see any brood in the boxes at the time. Put that hive together, and I looked over the front of the hive on the ground. Here's this ball of bees in the grass about that big. And I went around there, and the other guy was with me helping me, and he said, "What are you doing?" I says, "You just watch me." And I'm going with my finger, and I said, "Right there's our queen." And like I should have keyed in on that. Should have went to those brood boxes, and I found 4 frames of brood in there. I did extract the honey out with, the brood was capped.
Yeah.
And I went ahead and put that brood back in. I forget one of these. I donated to some hive. I forget what it was now. But yeah, you're right. But I blew her out on the ground, and I was lucky enough to see that. She would have been another queenless hive. I don't know how she got up there.
It's amazing though how they can hang on when they got brood, because I was blowing that one box. I'm there like, what the heck is going on? Why I can't get them out? And I started spreading the frames apart and seeing that brood. I said, oh. So I just took it out and brushed it off, and then ended up putting it back in the hive instead of extracting it. But she had got through that queen excluder somehow.
super senior there, and it was a virgin up there, or
Yeah, something happened.
somehow got out. Who knows?
He's got 6 inches of rain down there.
I heard they forecast in some areas like to get almost 24 inches because it's supposed to like stall out somewhere along the coast. I don't know if it's in his area or not, but for like 2 days it's supposed to rain in the same area, and they're supposed to get like 24. They said like a once in 100-year rain.
It looks like Brian's got a maybe getting a capping a spinner.
Has everyone got
And the
their
advantage of this is to see the brood. If it goes back in the hive, then you use escapes. If you don't see the brood and it winds up in the honey house, okay, yeah. It's like you were saying, Brad. You know, the bees are gonna hang there. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a dead giveaway.
Has everyone except me got all their honey pulled? I haven't pulled all of mine yet.
No, I haven't pulled all mine yet. I'm gonna wait till
I
it
got all mine.
cools down a little bit. Then I'm gonna pull
You're
some.
finished?
In a week, I'm putting all my supers back on because it's going to rain here in about 2 hours, and the goldenrod's about a week away from blooming.
Yeah, well, with the goldenrod here, do you get a honey flow? Because I don't.
Well, I haven't yet since I've been a beekeeper because it's always hot and dry. But this year, this week, it's been raining every 3 to 4 days. We've gotten so much rain, and it's going to be raining here in a couple hours in a little bit. So if we can get one more rain next week, we'll get a goldenrod.
You think
I
there's
don't
enough nectar? I don't get. I'm like Charlie. I get the pollen out of it, but I very seldom ever get any nectar out of goldenrod.
Yeah, the only thing
Man,
you can see a little.
yards smell good when a goldenrod's got nectar.
Well, we can
Smells
see
like butterscotch. I smelled it twice in my life.
Not
said
like butterscotch.
And I love butterscotch. So I'm hoping to get some butterscotch honey.
My goldenrod smells like old rotten, dirty socks.
That's
Sweat.
esters. That's
It's pretty
esters,
rough.
JW. That's not goldenrod.
only-
Goldenrod's butterscotch. Esters is stinky feet.
It only
You
smells
you gotta
bad when
put them
they're
on, and then a week later you
evaporate.
gotta rip them off because then you get all the ester flowers. They bloom right after the goldenrod.
Yeah.
we get very little nectar.
No, we get pollen out of goldenrod, and there's Bob Benny said that guy said on there was multiple different styles of those plants as far as varieties go, and all that kind of stuff.
Whatever they do bring in, they never cap it. It's not enough to even cap.
Nah.
They just fill in a few little spots with it, but that's about it. But they bring in a lot of pollen. You'll get some whole pollen frames going into winter, and that's good, I guess, to have all that extra pollen.
I got acres and acres and acres of goldenrod. Acres and acres. I don't know how many acres. Hundreds.
We only have it along the roads and the fence lines.
I got a 765K utility lines that come off the power plant, not even a quarter mile from my house, and they spray it to kill all the trees, but there's tons of wildflowers and goldenrod that grows up in those fields, 50 yards wide, but miles and miles long.
It looks like Matt's doing quite well. He sold out in 2 weeks.
That's good. Yeah, I ended up with 8 buckets so far this year of honey. So not 7, 8, 9 buckets, 10 buckets. I had 8 and I got a bucket and a half to 2 buckets more.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I had like 16 or something like that. I forget now.
Yeah, I had a bad year.
But now that's not a full bucket. That's 50. I like a 55 pound bucket. I bring it up to
I
the
do.
bottom of the screen, or right where it actually kind of gets up into the screen of the bucket
That's what I
screen.
try to do, Charlie.
Yeah,
And
me
then I pull that thing up and switch it over. That way I can pour it without any very less in danger of spilling any of it. I'll put it to you that way.
I fill mine up to the top. They're 60. They're 60.
Yeah.
that's rough to
Nice.
handle.
Huh?
I'm young. I can handle it.
When I fill them up that full, for one thing, I don't trust the handle on the bucket sometimes.
Let's see. Quart. Let's see. How many pounds are in a quart? 2 3/4 pound? No, there's a 3 pound. Yeah, it's almost
3 pounds in the quart.
Almost.
Yeah, you need to be $30 there, Matt.
That's
Actually, what
$30
you
for a
really
quart?
need to do is, if you're going to sell honey, then sell it in a honey container. That way, you're not cheating. You're cheating yourself there, big time. And
Yeah,
all,
but
and that way, you can get your honey, you get your bees to make, to pay back your expenses.
Yeah, but it depends on your
I'm
market.
selling my 3 pound quarts for $35.
Around
Mason jars.
around home, they so cheap and tight. If I tried to sell it for that much, they just wouldn't buy it. They'll go buy Chinese honey instead of it. I don't understand it.
Well, you don't have any, what's your income area down there? That's
Yeah, and then another thing too, we have so many big bee farmers. It's just, I mean, everywhere in our parish, in Evalds Parish, you travel down the road, you see 50 to 100 hives in this field, or 50 to 100 hives in this field. It's just unreal. So, it's hard to. Matter of fact, the highest a quart of go here is, I see them on the marketplace, is like $18.
Hmm.
So I put mine at
Wow.
15, and I'm doing pretty good, but it's just that it's so flooded, and then the people around here just, they ain't got the money for it.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it's like you say. I mean, for where I live, there's people that make a lot of money in my area, but they live in, they're going to Baltimore and working and whatever, and they don't. There's nobody around here that does any commercial beekeeping at nothing like what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's the market's not flooded.
Yeah. I'm about the largest on my side of town because it's so hilly, all woods.
Mm-hmm. Hey, John. Yeah, just like you say, it's location dependent and all that. Let's see.
If you go to the some of the markets they have in the bigger areas, you can make some money off the honey, because a lot of those markets are, I call them the suburban housewives that go there, that they'll buy stuff and they won't worry about prices too much.
Yeah.
I wish I could
Yeah,
find
Brad, when I-
somebody at the farmer's market that needs some honey to sell, because I just don't have time to schedule myself to do a farmer's market. I'd love to.
Yeah, me neither. That matter of fact, the way I'm selling mine right now, I had mentioned to Charlie a while back, I put a sign in my mother-in-law's yard across the street, and she's home all day long. She's 78 years old, so she sells my honey for me. So my wife calls the local swap shop, advertises the honey, and they come pick it up. And I put her little sign there.
That's good.
Yeah, and it's worked out pretty good. She's sold a lot.
I'll
She
be
probably
doing
like
next year since I'll
everybody
be
come by,
retired.
too.
Yeah, she loves the people, because she knows everybody in the parish. So
Yeah.
every time somebody, I'll be watching, if I'm cutting grass and I see somebody drive up, I see her, she's talking with them for 10, 15 minutes before they actually leave. And Then when I see her, when I go bring her, you know, so and so that just came by. He told me all about it. I'm there. Yeah. she done got their whole life story from him.
Yep.
People like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Thursday, I'm checking 21 mating nukes. It'll be 2 weeks, tomorrow or Thursday. So
Yeah,
I'm
Matt.
hoping I got pretty many of them. Queens.
Well, Matt's doing good there. He's checking out what the locals are, what the local pricing is.
Right.
Yeah, if you go on Marketplace in your area, you'll find out real quick what the prices are because they pretty much all, they sell it for the same price or pretty close to it. That way you kind of know what you get to price yours at.
Right.
We see in my
I
area
just
right
look at
here,
my friends'
Washington
prices.
Parish,
Uh-huh.
my 1 pound bottles, I sell them for $6.
Mm-hmm.
I got a guy, y'all have heard me say it before. I got a guy, he's almost 4 miles from me. He sells it for $5. Now,
For a pound bottle.
yep. I have actually years ago to fill an order, I bought some from him and resold it at my price just to fill my order. I had like guy wanted to buy like 40 pounds of 1 pound bottles.
Mm-hmm.
And I had honey, but I just didn't have enough pulled for that. But anyway, you can go south of me a 30-minute ride and sell that same bottle I sell for $6, for $8, $10. It depends on what store you take it to, and it'll sell that. But that's not my territory. See, I can't go there because other beekeepers are there. You wet, Bob?
Yes, sir. We're
What did I sell my honey wholesale for? I sell my wholesale for $10.50 a pound.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, I just got a notice for our state fair, and this club that's running the show over there. This year, they're consigning. You can bring in up to 200 pounds. They will sell it at the fair for 10. Your cut will be $10.50 a pound, and they're selling it for 15.
I would bring it to them all day long.
That's what we sell around here.
They would get everything I got if they could sell it for 10 something a pound.
No, you're going to get $10.50 a pound, and they're going to sell it for 15.
Well, that's I don't care because that would be way more than what I'm getting.
I mean,
now.
that's I find that to be quite good too.
Yeah, that's an awesome price.
Yeah.
Because I asked one of the local guys that actually he spins out honey for like small beekeepers that don't have harvesting equipment, and I said, how much you pay if I bring you just bulk honey? He says, I'll give you $2.50 a pound.
Forget that.
I said, I'd rather feed it back to the bees.
Yeah.
Instead of buying sugar, because I'll pay almost that sugar. Feed the bees. But it's so cheap. He said he was getting anywhere from $4.50 to $7, all depend on the grade and the color, a pound. So
I haven't heard from Bugman Chris, Keith. Yeah, it's we're getting that slow, very slow rotation off of the storm. The hurricane is supposed, well, it's a tropical storm now. It's supposed to be circulating over my state for like 3 days. So
yeah, that's what I heard. Y'all can get up to 24 inches in some area.
Yep. Well, supposedly we got about 6 inches today. So it's just a slow, steady rain. I actually think we got a little bit of a break in it right now, but it is washing out my I think it was just last summer that I just had the driveway filled and, bobcatted down, and now it's going to wash out again. So at least it looks like it's starting to dig ruts into it, the rain. So I talked to Earl by text message yesterday, And I saw he put up a TikTok video today about beeswax. So he's still doing stuff. He's just being Earl, you know. Earl goes through these bouts of depression, and I think he just stays to himself. And then he'll go through another spell where he's social. So he's just doing his thing.
Guys, I'm gonna hop off and get something to eat and take a shower.
Who's
All
Earl?
right, Tom. Thanks for coming in.
Because it was a super hot day today here in Cincy.
Yeah, that's what Lee said. He's just tired and wore out. So he's wanted to take the night off.
Everybody be good.
All right.
Good night. Good night,
But yeah, we're just trying to stay afloat. I hear everybody talking about all these damn mite treatments, and nobody's talking about the easiest one out on the market, the Happy Tablet. I don't understand it.
I'm fixing to pick me up some at the bee convention because
Slidell's one has been canceled, right?
No, the one in Pineville, and they supposed to have him there.
Oh, they probably will.
Yeah, it's a state association, is it, there in Louisiana?
Yeah. They're gonna have a couple of good what you say that bee sellers, suppliers. Man Lake's supposed to be there. Damn it.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to support a small business. Let's just buy it from fucking Man Lake. Excuse my French, sorry.
It's not Man Lake. It's Appymon going there. They're gonna have their own table.
Support me supporting them.
You're gonna get free shipping.
Oh man.
But no, it's Cayman there, and I think Mr.
They usually go. They're at I guess they're up there near Charlie right now.
They're about 45
Yeah,
minutes
yeah.
from the house. Yeah, I'm wondering how that's going. I was going to answer.
I'm probably not going to Nobby in all honesty. We talked about it a little bit, but I don't have a job, so I don't know if I'll have the money to go to Nobby, and if I don't have the money, then my thing is most of my thing at Nobby is socializing with people. So I don't really take advantage too much of sale. I might buy something if I'm up there, but I wouldn't buy enough to warrant, in my opinion, spending money on the trip and staying in the hotel and paying for the ticket and and the food, right? So
that's worth it just to get to see us.
Well, I see y'all every other day, it seems like, on here somewhere. So
well, I didn't go last year, so I'm gonna go this year. I already told my wife, I said, because she eats the honey, but as far as bees and talking bees, she's not into all that. So when we went 2 years ago, when it was at the other place, I pretty much gave her the truck, and she dropped me off, and she went do her thing around the town.
Well, I don't think Louisville has as much to do as Sevierville does, and
that's what I was fixing to tell you. She said, "Well, where is it at?" And I told her. She says, "Well, what the heck am I going to do over there?"
Casino. There's a casino about 20 minutes from the convention, I think. I don't know. I wouldn't mind going. It's not that. It's just I don't know what my financial situation is going to be like by then, So, with people buying Happy Tablets from Man Lake and places like that, then it makes it even harder.
Well, I told her, I said, "Well, you don't."
That question, Bob.
What's that?
Matt's got a question there.
It says on the package not to be used in the super zone, so that's kind of a loose Turkish translation for they won't eat it if it's on during the honey flow. So if you got supers on, they probably won't eat it. I've had them on. If there hadn't been a honey flow on, they've been on my colony. That's
when it comes to Nobby, it's my winter vacation also.
Yeah, and and it's New Year's weekend, right? So not only is there not going to be much to do in Louisville other than the conference, nothing else will be open probably because it's New Year's weekend. So it might be an interesting time up there. So
I tell you, with Nobby, if I didn't get anything else out of it, just meeting all the people that I got to meet was worth every penny I spent on it.
Yeah, we had
even having to go out at midnight at the fire alarm pull. So
yeah,
I met people there that I wouldn't have met.
I mean, I've had a good time when I went to Hive Life, but Nobby is twice as far away, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit further too.
A little bit further away, and
yeah, Paul, I know it'll still be open.
But you never know. Never know what's going to happen between now and then. And if I get a job, can I get the weekend that week off? I don't know. You know, it's just a lot of stuff up in the air right now. So right now I don't have plans to go.
Well, I heard you gotta pay for parking, but can you be dropped off?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
They allow the vehicle to come and
if
go?
you have if you're at and most of the hotels have shuttle service.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if I'm not at one close, I was wondering if my wife could drop me off and then she could, because I wanted to let her have the truck or whatnot, whatever vehicle we're in.
Well, you have to walk in from the gate.
Is it far?
Yeah, it's pretty far.
It's a pretty good walk
About
after you go through your gate.
350, 300 yards from the main
If it's
gate.
cold, it's a long walk.
Where are you going to stay at, Brad? Have you figured that out yet?
Most probably at a Hampton Inn, because my wife has like a honors. Yeah,
you got Hilton Honors.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, or you got Hilton Honors. That's what I do. I stay at the Hilton.
The 2-day parking pass is a lot cheaper per day. It's not just a few dollars more, and it was a 2-day for the 2-day pass.
Well, that's not. It's not the problem of parking, but I just didn't want to leave her without a vehicle. That's why I just wanted to be dropped off and let her.
You can leave her home when you can fly in.
Oh hell no! I want to buy stuff at the. Okay. That's why I'm going to my truck. I didn't go last year, so I'm all about buying, what you call that, the new stuff, the trinkets and stuff like that. I'm going through this phase of buying styrofoam and plastic hives right now. I've been buying these licensed 6 frames and putting my overwinter nukes in there, and man, I love them. Matter of fact, they're the only ones not bearding too much right now. Are those the styrofoam on those things is real thick. I think Bob has 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, I got a couple of the license. They're like 2 inches thick or so.
I'll bring you one of mine out there. I'll sell you that for half price.
Does it come with all the bee viruses and everything else?
Nah, don't want the viruses or nothing.
You just got to torch it off, kill all the viruses.
You know, that I won't work too good on that styrofoam.
Melt it down.
Man, I had like I said, I like to try new things. Them bee made or bee man plastic hive top covers. I know y'all have seen them white ones. Maybe yeah, maybe so. I had it on one of the hives. For one thing, I don't like them because you got to weight them down. They're real light. And I was smoking this hive, and I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I set that smoker on top of that other hive, and I smelled something burning. And I looked over. That smoker had done settled down into that cover. I said, "Gee whiz! I just ruined that $35 hive top cover. Got a perfectly round hole in it."
You have to buy one of them $300 smoke vapors.
Oh no, that's a little too much right there. I like new stuff, but I like cheap.
I don't know, a friend of mine from down there in Virginia, down there at Shenandoah Bee Supply, he sells what is it? Hive IQ or something like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a plastic hive.
Speaking of him, when's he coming on, Charlie? Didn't he say he was going to start a stream on a Monday night?
I think that's going to be in September.
Oh, okay.
Who is that?
Bill, I forget what his last name is. He's Shenandoah Bee Supply Company.
Hmm.
He's going to start in September, I believe it is. He'll be there at Navi. I do know that. Man, all.
Why is shipping so much? Shipping is so much because shipping's expensive if you haven't shipped anything lately.
Yep.
Brian, if you want a top bar beehive, I'll sign it for you. No problem.
Charlie's got about 50 of them or more in his underneath his house.
Yeah.
You need to sell them things, Charlie.
I had one guy wanted to buy one. I told him, like, give me $150 and you have it. And I never heard back from him.
Roy asked a question about a meat cutter in Michigan, and I used to go to a place, but I can't remember. I've been sitting here stewing trying to remember the name of the place, and I can't remember it now. What's the name of that place? I'll think about it right after we get off the stream, and it'll pop in my head as soon as we get off the stream.
Mm-hmm.
Dog, I can't remember that place. I was being rhetorical. Yeah, the shipping is crazy right now on everything.
Yeah.
Kyle says, how many more honey flows are expected in Maryland? Thinking about getting all my hives ready for our second winter.
There ain't none now that I know of. Anything, Kyle, would be you got, I've seen some more lanternflies today, so they seem to be kicking in. So you might get some honey out of them, but I wouldn't take it out of there.
But you guys are supposed to get the storm later in the week, right?
Yeah, we're going to get your rain Friday and Saturday. And I just got some rain here this evening coming down out of Pennsylvania.
It just started pouring down right now.
And there's another cell coming towards me. I mean, it's just like a cloud. You know, it got to the point here right before 8 o'clock. It actually got absolutely dark, you know, and I figured, man, we were going to get hit. So I went around. I have 2 good colonies, but 2 smaller ones that are light on numbers and resources. Well, Kyle, it's like everything else. You buy sugar, make 2-to-1 sugar water, and feed until they stop eating. That's what I do. I don't rely on, and Ryan says down in Southern Maryland, he's about 2 hours south of me. He doesn't have any. And really, there isn't no other honey flow, you know, as far as a honey flow that you could make a crop off of. At all. Now, a friend of mine, he lives about 25 miles north of me on right in the edge of Pennsylvania. But he's got hives around BB trees and a bunch of other stuff that he'll pick up 500 pounds of honey. But, you know, he's in I call it a microclimate where he's at. He's also right next to the Susquehanna River, which, you know, it's pretty unpopulated for the most part, especially the banks. And the banks are quite tall. I mean, it's, you know, quite tall. So there's a lot of things growing there that maybe the bees can get into. So anyway, that's what's happening here in Maryland. But yeah, Kyle, I always start feeding after about a week after Labor Day weekend. That's when I start putting the top high feeders on and start feeding. And all. So
When?
After Labor Day.
What do you say, Joy? I'm feeding some of my resource hives right now. Here.
Ryan wants to know whether that was a real gator, Bob.
Yeah. We got gators here, but not where that was down in Charleston. Somebody had posted that up. All right. So the place that I went, I looked it up on the internet. It's called Horrocks, Horrocks Farm Market. And they cut fresh meat in there. I used to buy New York strip, like the whole New York strip, and have them cut it. I don't know what the price is now, but when I was there. And that's, where's that at? They're still open. You can still make it.
$25 to $35 by a pound around here, uncut in the strips.
I think, well, when I was there, which is several years ago now, I paid $75 for the whole strip, and I think I got about 18 steaks out of it. 18, 19 steaks. And they're on 7420 West Saginaw Highway, Lansing. So it's a fresh market type place, fresh produce and all. Yeah, no, Debbie's hanging out right over top of us. The eye hadn't even, I think it's just getting to the southern tip of South Carolina. Just all the bands are just swirling around. Yeah, it's pouring rain on us right now. And one reason I didn't go live tonight was because our power could go out at like any time. So it's just like, didn't want to test it too much. But since Charlie stepped up, I jumped on for a minute, see what's going on with all you fine gentlemen. So here's the thing about those spotted lanternflies. If you guys get stuck with 3-4 days of rain up there in a row, how's that going to affect them?
I don't know. Really don't know.
I mean, we had a little bit of a flow, but now we've got all this rain and it's gone, right? Everything's going to be washed out for a few days. I don't know what it's going to do to the cotton fields that are over there by my out yard. So they had some bigger like bumblebees on them.
I was curious about, like, you talk about goldenrod and all that, and you talk about Ian up there. He's brother's planting them sunflowers. Mm-hmm. And I've had one guy down here. They were planting sunflowers around here from, it was sort of a touristy thing or some sort, but I think there's different styles of those sunflower or different variations, and some of them give out nectar and some of them don't.
Well, the kind he had, the kind that Ian's planting or his brother's planting must give out nectar, because he had a video on today saying that they were getting a lot of nectar from the sunflower.
Yeah, I was watching that.
And I noticed that the plants, which might just be the fertilizer, but those sunflower plants have huge bases to their stem. So I don't know the name of what he's never said the name of the sunflower he's planting. But I've planted them before, and some of them grow real tall, and some real short, and some of them have narrow bases. Some have.
Well, I do know, like if you're in the, like where he's farming that kind of stuff and doing sunflower, and they're only harvesting the flower part. The rest of it they're going to grind up.
Yeah, I wonder if it's not black.
Usually they plant them to where they're real low.
Yeah.
There's ones that are like 4 foot tall or 3 foot tall, and then there's other ones that'll grow up quite a lot higher. Kind of like a corn stalk.
Yeah, a lot of the production ones, are the black oil sunflower seed.
Sure.
But I don't know the actual name to what he's planting.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what people have been asking about. So it's just kind of hovering down here right now. And I'm right here. So Thursday or Friday. But there's just going to be dumping rain.
And I'll see up here in Baltimore, they're saying Friday and Saturday for us.
Well, The last little thing I saw is that
maybe Friday I'm going to get the bands or something. Maybe
it's moving like northeast at 6 miles an hour. It's supposed to come off the shore, and then they're talking about it coming back in. So, don't know. But you see, that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But it's big enough where you might still see rain up here. And then there's another storm coming across Ohio and stuff too.
Right.
So, yeah, it is hitting us. Let's see.
Well, that's the price you pay for living in paradise, Bob's all I can tell you.
If this is paradise, whew. Tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
It's muggy and mosquitoes all the time. It's like living in Louisiana.
You talk about cotton. I think it'd be in dead bloom right now. I don't know your
Well,
location.
earlier in the week when I was out here, there was flowers on a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what kind of plant it was, so I took a picture and used the app. And it's American cotton, and the bloom had like a big bumblebee in it that I took a photo of. So it's they're definitely getting something off of it.
Well, bees will work it. They get a pretty good flow out of it, and I've got some friends in South Georgia. They get a pretty good flow out of it in those areas. You know.
Well, those colonies out there look pretty good. I cracked them when I was out there. I cracked them open.
You might be surprised if you're not used to them and not been around cotton, because it's got a pretty good flow at times, I think.
Well, we're going to see. I've checked them out and to see how they were filling out the frames and everything, and they looked like they had plenty of room still. So it was call that rain. Yeah, a little bit of rain up to what'd you say, Brad? 24 inches.
Mm-hmm. That's what I heard. I heard it on the news last night. I don't know if it's in your area, but they were saying it's supposed to stall out, and some areas are supposed to get up to 24 inches.
Well, I had flooding in my front yard. They're having trees and stuff down and roads flooded out here already. And we still got 3 more days of it. I haven't heard of that one.
Haven't heard of it.
Let's see. But let's see.
Oh, sit here and look at one another. Nobody said anything.
Yeah. What are you doing, Joey?
Joey?
Turn your mic on. Turn your mic on, Joey.
I was checking to see how far it is to Pineville again. I'd already forgotten.
Oh, okay. Oh, from your home up to Pineville?
Yeah.
About 3 hours and 12 minutes, isn't it?
That's pretty close. I know there's a shorter way. I think I can do it in like 3 hours. It's saying 3 hours and 30 minutes.
You gonna be going, Joey?
Yeah.
You going both days?
I'm thinking about it. I wasn't even going to go, and Mike Berry had talked to me about going. And then when they canceled Slidell, I said, "Well, I'm going to go then." You know.
Yeah.
I'm only
going to know if you're staying, Brad.
I'm only going one day. What's that?
Paul Hale's asking if you're going or going to spend the night.
No, I only live 35 minutes away, so that's like.
He was asking if you were driving each day or you were going to spend the night.
Matter of fact, I used to work around there, and I used to drive there every day. So it's like nothing to me to drive that route. But yeah, I'm only going for one day because they got for what I'm really just going to look at the stuff that they got, and then I don't know who's going to be speaking what day. I think Cayman Reynolds is going to be one day, and Mr. Ed's going to be another day, and so they didn't put it on the itinerary who's speaking when that I found. So I was probably going to go the first day. I think it's a Friday and a Saturday.
I'm like Joey. I don't go for the speakers. I go for the camaraderie.
I go, yeah, that, and I go look for some deals because I need some more frames too. So last year they had some good deals on some frames from Man Lake there. It was like, it's the wooden frames with the plastic foundation, but real cheap.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed with, there's a lot of state, conventions, I guess you'd call them. And, it's gotten to the point where you can see it at Nobby. You see most of them at Nobby. And then you got these other ones and it's kind of like the same crew going from state to state as far as the speakers go. And it's like right now we got Eastern Apiculture Society. It's about 45. It's on the other side of Baltimore, about 45 minutes from my house, maybe an hour at the most. And, it's highly expensive. It's a money grab, to be quite honest with you, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
First, you got to be a member in order to go to buy a ticket. And that's $35. And then it's $100 and whatever, for the week. And it's a Monday through Friday thing. And then they have their at the end of the so many days is like the last 2.5 days. They call it the conference. Well, every one of them's a science guy, and the ones that they pick are all Marylanders because the Maryland Bee Association put it on. And I'm like, guys, I already had these people at my club via Zoom or in person. One's going to talk about, what he did on some island out in Chesapeake Bay. And it's not really dealing with honeybees. It's just dealing with solitary bees. And I'm like, what a real sleeper that is.
Tell us how you really feel, Charlie.
Huh?
I said, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other ones, which they're all from the Maryland Bee Lab down there. And I'm like, well, I've already had them zoomed in or whatever. It's like, there's nothing else to tell,
You know what?
And then they had a few vendors. I guess Man Lake's going to be there for sure. Mamet's going to be there. And I don't know who else is actually going to be there as far as vending goes.
You know what I want to hear out of the next Beekeepers Association, out of their speaker? How the hell to make some damn money with these bees and not spend money? That's what I want. Teach us how to make money. Okay, teach us how to get ahead and make money.
Good luck.
Yeah.
See you later, Randy.
I mean, they get you addicted to this stuff. I started out with 2 hives as a hobby, and now I'm almost up to 60 hives, and this is some work.
That's why I cut back on mine. As far as, I didn't go up to 65. I mean, one year, I'll say 4 years ago, I had it up right at 50 hives. And that was nukes. That was honey production and queens at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm working on Saturday and all day Sunday every weekend. You do, I had got it to the point where 1 week was nuke weekend. Then the next weekend was the production hives. And then in between all that was doing queens, and mating boxes and all that stuff, and I just kind of run out of gas. And another thing is like this year I've revamped everything because I was thinking about it this time last year, how my production hives, like right now, I don't know if I got my Aprovar in there, which I ain't saying that's the best product, but I don't really touch them hives right now. It's hot, humid. Like, you know what? I kind of like in that winter mode right now, and I got a dozen nukes, and I said, and I'm not dealing with the new beekeepers and stuff there, or even not just the new beekeepers. Some of these other beekeepers that don't see the urgency in order to get here and get your nukes out of mine, so I don't have bees in the trees, number one. And number two, these babies are ready to explode. And, you got 3 frames of totally capped brood ready to explode, bees in the box. Get with it here, folks. They don't understand that. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But that's why I quit selling the nukes.
Beekeeping is about like owning a boat or RV.
It's a hole in the box you throw your money in.
Yeah. I mean, I sit back and I laugh at myself because I go out in the bee yard and I am right now making queens, and I look around and I looked around the other day. I'm like, all my hives got queens. Why the hell am I making? Now I'm going to have to make new hives. I'm going to have to make some new boxes.
Well, anybody around you in a club area that that need queens?
Well, I haven't advertised them or anything. I'm sure there are some, but I think
do you belong to a local? I mean, I don't know. I find it quite surprising in some areas there are no bee clubs at all, which I find that around here every county's got 1 or 2 bee clubs.
Well, we have a local bee club, but it's a bunch of, I call them stuck up old fogies that don't want to share any information. So I mean, they go there to eat cookies and drink coffee, and when I went there, I was wanting to learn something. So you ask them some questions and they try to avoid you and stuff. They so afraid you get into the business, and because we have so much competition around here.
Hey, Nancy.
And I've even had some of them like not FaceTiming, but message me on Facebook and stuff like that. But you need to sell your honey for $2 more because they were selling for 18. And I'm not like, I want to get rid of this. Okay. It's a hobby for me. I wasn't in it for the money, but I'm not like,
now you are.
Yeah, now I am. I'm retired. I'm retired and I'm just doing rent houses. So now I'm trying to sell my stuff. And so they cutthroats around here. I mean, it's like, it's just unreal. The people don't like to share information. I guess that's why I started joining on the chats and stuff, because you can actually talk to people or listen to what they got to say. And
you go to your bee club and they can tell you how to make a split every spring.
Yeah.
How to introduce the queen.
Yeah. But
it's amazing queens and amazing splits. It's the best split ever.
It's the same old gibberish. But these big beekeepers around here, you're not going to get. I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but around here, they're not going to give you any info. They just keep to themselves.
Right. I mean, you're in an area. It's a different area. I mean, around where I live, it's pretty much all backyard beekeepers. So we have all these different clubs, and the clubs are about the same. They're all going to practice the same routine, what you're doing this year. And they're all going to kind of sort of focus for the new beekeeper. Well, this is what you need to be doing. Even I write a monthly newsletter. This is what you need to be doing. July, I missed it. I just couldn't get it done. And then like Ryan says, I know I talked to Ryan, and he's down there in Charles County, Maryland, and he said it's a bunch of old fogies, 5 to 10 people. Now we'll have 30 show up at our clubs. And I was complaining about the fact that I started because of COVID, I got us up on Zoom. Zoom was new at that time. Nobody knew what Zoom was.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, Nancy, EAS is this week, and it's like 45 minutes from my house, but a lot of money for a lot of nothing. I don't need to learn how to light a smoker, or I don't need to watch Sybil and her EF or her American Foul Brood sniffing dog, because it comes here to the house. You know. And of course she's, you know, she said I already seen her last weekend or last week on a Zoom meeting, and she's coming over to take samples of my hives for the National Honeybee Survey, so I can, you know, get my free mite check and free scientific analysis from the Maryland State Bee Lab and all that stuff.
Well,
But,
what we
yeah,
like
like
to do
you,
at our
Brad.
club is talk about, first few minutes is talk about current situations or what's coming up in the next 30 to 45 days. And then it gets opened up pretty much for questions then.
Well, we usually have a speaker. I don't know, Nancy, you're saying that there's 600 folks at the EAS. That doesn't really surprise me. But we have speakers. A lot of them Zoom in. And I mean, I'm going to have a speaker on the Amatraz here in September, August. Yeah, it's either September or October. On the resistance to bee mites, resistance to Amatraz. That's one of the speakers. And I don't know. There's a couple other ones that are coming up. I can look it up for you.
I'm like you, Brad. I don't go to those meetings. You know, get tried to be around all them old fogies, them old people. I'd rather be around us young guys.
Man, I called the local. I say local. It's in Alexandria, near Pineville. They have a farmers market that they have once a week. And I called up the lady. I said, "Hey, I was wanting to get into the market to see about selling honey." She goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, hon. We already have somebody selling honey."
Yeah.
She wouldn't let me go set up a table there because she already had somebody she knew selling honey. So she just plainly just shut me down. And they're like, "Okay." I guess when you're the only one selling there, you corner the market at that marketplace.
I'll tell you a little bit about on marketing. My main farm is 1.5 mile off of the highway that runs through my area, and I took a feather flag. I bought a feather flag. It said local honey. Put up a sign that showed an arrow, two-way sign, and put it out put it out in the yard there at my main farm on an honor system. And I sold 500 pounds in about 2.5 weeks.
Well, I was thinking about doing that because putting up one, but right by where my bee yard's at, and I just haven't got around to it. But that's a good idea. I see there's one other guy around Alexandria that has one of those honor system little boots there. He fixed it up pretty nice to where he just puts so much honey in it. I guess every
It's
day.
9 o'clock.
That was my computer telling me 9 o'clock.
Okay.
That's an hour behind.
You were hour
on time. Actually, it's a minute early. It's only 8:59. No, it's 9 now. Excuse me, Brad.
Brad, they calling you alive for a minute. Calling you alive for a minute.
Yeah.
Silence.
Yep.
But I don't know. Like I say, we have different.
But the meetings, I mean, for most of us, are pretty, I would assume, are somewhat technically savvy, right? Computer savvy. And all of the speakers, you can find all those topics on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you wanted to, you could find your answers without going to a meeting, but I understand the importance of them and getting the intermingle with somebody, and you might meet somebody that lives close to you and be like, hey, you got a queen, or I got an extra queen, or something like that. That's beneficial. But
well, I mean, it's like my club.
you said you got somebody in one of your clubs that is like a second-year beekeepers 10 years in a row. They just
that's another. Well,
I said one of them. I don't know, all your people,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying.
Nancy knows her.
But it's like, I mean, we are the meetings. That's it. It's just, you got to want to learn and try to maintain the information as much as you can, right? But like, if you just look at this year, if you take Mr. Ed, Randy McCaffrey, Bob Benny, and Cayman Reynolds, you've about covered every state bee meeting that I've seen around here. Florida, Georgia, South Carolina has had some mix of those people there. And if you watch their YouTube, they talk about the exact same thing at the bee club meetings as they do on their YouTube channel.
Now, when I went to the bee conference in it was 2 years ago for Cayman Reynolds, when he had the only speaker I really enjoyed was listening to. It wasn't really a speaker. It was Mr. Ed, Dirt Rooster, and that guy. I can't remember his name. He has
Fred Dunn.
Fred Dunn. I actually enjoyed listening to them because they were funny. They were going after each other, making comments and stuff. And so I enjoyed that one because it was funny to listen to. It wasn't really about, technical stuff about bees, but I sat in on that one and listened to it.
Hey, Lloyd.
We had an inch and a half before breakfast this morning. Down here.
About going to the clubs. I got one guy I've been trying to get him to come to the meetings. He texted me last night. What would it cost me to get 2 hives like you have? Could you get me everything I need? I just blew my mind. That was last night. I hadn't even responded to that.
Well,
I had this guy. I had just started in beekeeping, and he used to comment on these lives. I ain't gonna say his name, but I had just started beekeeping, and he's from around my area, and he asked me if he could bring, his either his grandson or something to my house so I could teach him beekeeping. And all I told him was, I don't really know that much yet. I'm just getting into bees. You'd probably be better off finding someone who actually knows something. And he got on Facebook and said the ugliest things about me, that I wasn't nice. I didn't want to help him and all kind of stuff because I didn't let him come to my house. I just couldn't believe it. I'm not like, this dude lives, he wasn't like 20 minutes away. And I'm not like, what did I do to this guy to piss him off so bad that? And I told him, I said, maybe in the future I will do that, but as of now, I don't know what I'm doing. So why would I teach someone else?
You know more than, well, the thing you have to remember, Brad, is more than what he does. So that's what we tell our people when the public comes up to you. Don't worry about if you're only a 1 year. You know more than what they do. Now, Brian Lee, what sells the best? Both of those sell the best for me.
Ones and twos by far for me.
Ones and twos. It depends on your market, is what it amounts to. Your area. I'm selling 1, 2s, and 3s, and I started out selling 5.5 pound bears, and now they've kind of fizzled off. You'll sell a few 1s, 2s, and now my 3 pound bottles are. I got people hooked, and I cure a lot of folks, you see. And when they get a goods prescription, of taking it twice a day and all that, it cures you of allergies. And, they just, well, why don't you buy a 3 pound bottle? It'll last you longer, and you won't have to make an office visit to the doctor.
You got to mix that with mother vinegar now too. Tell him. Brian, for the 1 pound. Mix it with 1 to 1 if you want.
And Lloyd there, he sells honey.
The secret
If everybody
formula.
don't know who Lloyd is, Lloyd's my friend. He's my neighbor up the road, and I help out where we go down to Georgia and get bees and stuff. And he sells 1s and 2 or 1s and 5s as his big seller.
Pint jars, which is 1.5 pounds, and 1 pound I sell the most here.
But it's like Doug Air. He's up in Saskatchewan. Now he sells what was it? 8. He sold 8 barrels of honey because he creamed that much up this past year and sells it in pails, but that's what sells in his country and where he lives and stuff and all that. That's right, Roy.
You know what?
But you know what? I sell honey every day, Roy. It works.
I had a guy call me today about he's got bees in his house. I'm like, we're in the middle of rain for this whole week. Do you think I'm coming out in the middle of the storm to take bees out of your house? I don't. Did it just become important today? I mean, I don't understand what people think.
I had one lady call me. She says, I heard you do bees. I said, well, I have bees. And she says, well, I got some bees in my house I need taken care of. I said, well, ma'am, I don't do house recoveries or nothing like that. She goes, well, you must not be a real beekeeper then, and hung up on me.
Well, the best way to get out of it, Brad, is you tell them that you're not licensed and insured to do removals out of a house. And then like, oh, okay.
I don't want nothing with going into someone's house and tearing apart the house and then blame me for something. It's just not worth the trouble.
Well, that's what Scott out there in JD's friends.
Yeah.
He's licensed and insured, and and he says people, you go into $100,000 or $300,000 house, and your smoker happens to set it on fire, you better damn sight be insured, and all that stuff. So,
and then then the other thing is, if you try to give them a price to do it, they just think you should just come and do the work because you're getting bees for free.
Yeah, you're saving the bees.
I got bees. I don't need their bees that they probably already tried to spray and kill before you ever get there.
That's usually the case too.
Yeah.
There's Scott or Tom and Melissa. They do a lot of cutouts. Well, that's if you like doing that kind of stuff. Me, every time I watch folks do that, I'm looking at how many hours did you sit there and spend to do all that? It better be getting paid pretty good per hour.
Yeah, and you got to have the equipment. You got to have a bee vac if you could do cutouts in a house. You got to have something to suck up those bees. You just can't just go remove the comb.
Well, and what I find is every vacuum that I've used so far, and I don't have an everything bee vac because I know someone's going to say, get an everything bee vac. Yeah, I know they're great. I don't have that. And I end up making bee soup more than anything when I vacuum out. So I end up killing them anyway. So it's like, if I'm not getting paid and the bees die, then it's not really worth it.
Yeah, Richard, the vapor, if I was I'd have to have a vapor smoker. But I'm have to wait till they come down in price. I mean, I seen him over at Nobby last.
All right, I got to ask you, Charlie, when's the last time you saw something in bee equipment come down in price? I mean, I haven't been beekeeping that long, and when I started, frames were $85 a 100 from Man Lake, and now they're $175 a 100 last time I checked.
And Bob should know he's a salesman.
Not for Man Lake.
No, I'm talking about just selling bee equipment.
Oh yeah, well, I honestly I don't have any desire to sell. I wouldn't say I don't have any desire. I've had people ask me, do I sell boxes and frames and stuff like that? And I don't, because with shipping, the I can't compete with Man Lake and those guys. I don't know how they.
How about you never tried like the drop shipping and stuff like that with your website and stuff?
Mm-mm.
No.
Well, they
No.
build their own from scratch.
Oh, they got the
Oh,
machines to build them and all.
Yeah, Man Lake builds all their own, or they used to.
I know you
'Cause
can
I
buy
went
them
up there
from
and saw
China
their
if you buy them
line.
by the truckload or box load, pretty cheap per frame. But I don't have the money to buy a box load of them.
Yeah, you got to buy a whole container.
Container, yep. And then last time I checked on anything from China that was substantial in size, they said that was the freight to get it to California, to the coast, to the port, and then you have to get it shipped from there to wherever you're at. And I'm on the whole opposite coast, so the shipping would probably be outrageous. But who knows?
Tell them just to send the ship that goes around Africa and comes up the East Coast.
Yeah. The Cape of Good Hope.
Yeah.
Oregano keeps down lights with oregano oil. So let's look.
Try Timu. Get them off a Wish. They'll be made out of balsa wood. But how late you going tonight, Charlie?
In California.
I go to 10:30 at the most.
So that's 9:30 my time.
9:30 your time.
9:13 time now.
Yeah, it is. If I get, see from the expo, now load up, make 50% profit in my local beekeeper. Well, you did all the work, I mean, you went out there, you trucked it back and everything else. You got to make something.
Some things I got cheap at the last bee convention in what was it, Searville, whatever you call it, was the bags of bee pollen. The last day they had marked them almost half price, and some medium frames and stuff. They were trying to get rid of.
They didn't want to carry them back.
Yeah.
But like frames, so let's say you could get them for $1.25 and you could sell them for $1.75. You're making 50 cents a frame. So you're making $5 a box. So is it worth putting your money out there to have it sit in your building or wherever until somebody buys it? That's what I always struggle with. Like with the Apis, when I was buying Apis, I would have to buy a ton of it, right? A big ass box of it, and it would sit here. And then people would buy it onesies and twosies, and you'd make a little bit of money, but I got a couple grand sitting on my shelf, So
I've never heard of using that for that.
no, I've been.
I mean, it's like everything else. There's always stock. I mean, you have your inventory. When I'm buying lumber out here, so many thousand. It's like this week I had a guy come in and I'll buy 20 16-foot stair treads, and they're premium stair treads and stuff like that. The guy pretty much cleaned me out as far as the 16-footers. But they sat there for at least 6 months or more, if not more. I just kind of have them there just in case somebody wants something.
Well, I mean, as far as that stuff, I mean, it's the last two products that I've kind of invested in have been the Appy tablet and Apis Biologics. And no sooner that you show them support and you get them some sales, then they turn around and sell it to Man Lake. And then everybody says, Man Lake's got it. I'll just buy it from Man Lake. And then I'm sitting here on 13 cases of them in my kitchen trying to get rid of them. Right. So
the Appy tablets went to Man Lake?
Yeah, Man Lake's got Appy tablets.
Oh, I didn't know he started selling
Yeah,
them
so
there.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's like it's hard for me trying to get started because when I started with Apis Biologics, he said point blank, I have no desire to be in Man Lake. I want to support the small beekeeping supply places. So I'm like, cool. I'll buy in. I'll buy the territory, all that stuff, right? And got started with it. And as soon as he could get in the door of this other deal, then all of a sudden all the smaller guys just went away. So I mean, good for him. I guess that's a win for his company. But even mine, I don't have a desire with my swarm lure to really chase Man Lake. If they ever ask me, maybe I would go in because I guess it's a good business move, but I tried to stay with the smaller guys. And what happens to them? Oh, well, we got this other one now, or you get railroaded by other YouTubers and all of a sudden they don't carry you anymore. So, I mean, I stopped even really pushing it. I just talked to you guys in this chat about like my swarm lure and stuff like that. Haven't really pursued too many other places in Amazon. So even John Hill was buying my lure before Hive Life, the last Hive Life conference. He sold out of it and stopped carrying it. He sold everything he had for me. Stopped carrying it.
Yeah, but wasn't there a money discrepancy there and he was undercutting your normal price?
Well, the only thing I told him is that he had to put the regular price on there. I don't care what he sold it for, but if there's a suggested retail price and you have it on sale, then put the real price and then do it like a sale and discount it. But them, and then magically after the Apis thing and or the Appy tablet and the Cayman Reynolds debacle thing happened, and I lost the Apis Biologics. That happened to be on Texas Bee Supply's stream, that Cayman Reynolds thing, and Texas Bee Supply didn't order anymore this year, even though they sold everything they had. So I don't know what's going on there, but I replaced their business with some other dealers, and I'll support them. But it's like it's just a constant struggle, and I'm tired of arguing with other YouTubers about products because I don't care what they sell, but they just seem to trash talk everything that I bring to market, and yet if they bring something to market, it's like the best thing ever, So I just stopped even talking about them. That's right, Cat. That's what I'm talking about. Come in here meowing like that. But anyway,
That's something that I severely take to heart whenever, like those other YouTube guys, I used to watch them all the time. Especially like you say, like the one who he promotes the special stuff. I used to watch them guys all the time. It's like, but when I hear other people trashing other people, no matter if it's good or bad or whatnot, but when you talk down somebody else's stuff just to sell your own, I tune that out. I turn them off. I can't watch that anymore because they're like just taking advantage of people. So I mean, I used to be, I would watch every one of their deals because one of the YouTube guys I really like because he makes good videos. I like to watch his videos, but
right.
As far as the other two, I really don't have anything for them because they always down talking other people's stuff or other people's ideas or the way they keep bees and stuff. It's like our way is the best way to keep bees, and then you find out our bees are dying. Okay. I mean, one barely made it out of winter with his bees, or barely made it through the summer, and the stuff you're selling is supposed to be this magical potion to save bees, or stuff like this.
Yeah, it's all science backed too.
Yeah, it's all. but all your bees died. You barely making it, and then
but they look good when they first got it in there.
And then the one you're buying these queens from are supposed to be these great queens, but they never make it through the season. I'm like, what's going on? I'll stick with my Vols Parish queens that I'm breeding down here in the sticks instead of. There's so many. Because if I stay listening to them, I'll have to comment something and then it'll go wrong. So I just tune it out. Because
I just got to the point to where I just focus on me now anymore. I don't. At one time it used to. That whole thing, and it was on Charlie's stream. It wasn't even on one of my streams. Probably cost me this year $15,000 in Apis Biologics sales, and probably
but man,
probably 5,000 or 6,000 in my swarm lure sales to the couple supply companies that don't carry it anymore.
Yeah, but it's like you said, Man Lake's carrying it now. I mean,
well, they're not carrying my lure, but it's.
I'm talking about Apis Biologic and stuff like that.
I mean, it's what it is. I mean, it's business, right? So, my thing is that I try to take people at their word, right? I don't think there's anybody that has met me either personally or at a show or came up to my house that I'm not the same on this stream as I am when I'm at your place or you're here or we're at dinner or whatever. And that's how I am. I don't put on a fake show. Hey, Brad, I don't put a fake show on for YouTube and, different way here and there. I'm just Bob. So, and when somebody says they're, God, I can't, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to talk about this other thing.
I can vouch for that. This Bob right up here, that's the real Bob.
Yeah.
I'll vouch for that.
I try not to get into it, but the main thing is that there's people, I'll just say this, there's people and things on YouTube that what they say and what they do are not the same things. If you listen close, that's all I'm saying.
There's lots.
That's all I'm saying. But anyway, Charlie, I almost took you all the way up to 10:30, but I didn't want to be the Debbie Downer of the stream.
Well, I'm glad you hung out. My meeting just ended, and I got to say hi.
Well,
I had the boss come in on a meeting tonight. That was really nice.
Oh, yeah?
All I got to say is if your bees are dying, get you that stuff with the seaweed in it. Because last I've heard, bees love to go to the ocean, dive down, find seaweed, and come back up.
It's a natural pollen source for the seaweed. Little mermaid bees.
Yeah, y'all are...
I was by my hive, and I could have.
Why don't y'all just put a boat anchor on my ass and throw me in the lake? Because that's what y'all are doing, dragging me down the road.
I was watching my hives. I was watching my hives, and I could have sworn I seen some bees coming out of there with some little respirators, and they were heading to the Gulf.
Scuba bees.
Oh my gosh!
I made a comment on one of these fellas' videos. That's why I stopped watching it too, because someone they were trying to sell their stuff with this magical seaweed in it and all these, and I said, someone on the chat asked me, what do you put in yours? I said, well, I just mix some essential oils in some of my sugar water sometimes. Sometimes I'll put some tea tree oil or something like that in it. And one of them guys on that show said, well, you can't add the seaweed like this has. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then he told me what I'm doing is not really legal to do, where this stuff has been tested and it's scientifically and I wanted to tell him so much about his scientific crap, but I just got away from the channel. It's just too much. And then you find out the next year that all this stuff he's putting in his bees, he's coming back singing these sad videos of, well, my bees died, and I got these queens right here that take Pepto and all this other stuff. He's got some Pepto queens, don't know why they died, and this and that. It's just.
Oh, we did. Let's see, Bob. We did have, who was it up in Pennsylvania that was mixing spirulina? That's what
That's
that
Tom.
stuff is.
Tom, yeah.
It's not Pennsylvania, but anyway.
New York? Was it New York?
No, north of there.
He's in Connecticut.
Connecticut. Yeah, he does his own woodenware, but he was mixing his own spirulina in there, and he said that
Tom Bacon.
they did well or something with it. I forget what it was now. And all. I don't know. I mean, it's just like for me this year, and I've said it before. You know, I had a huge education about queens and their age, and you know, keeping young queens. For me, talking with a fellow up there in New Hampshire that I had, Troy Hall, and where you know, in the Mid-Atlantic region of where I live, you're going to get 2 years out of the queens, and then you need to keep young, prolific queens in order to hopefully keep your hives off the roller coaster ride. And
I think that's even more important down like for Joey and Brad and me, because we don't get that winter chill at all.
Well, I'd say in where you guys are at, those queens are laying 11 months out of the year. And I talked to like Hardiman's down there in Georgia, where they got 8,000 hives. They requeen every year. That's what I was told by them. Because, of course, they're looking to sell bees, and they need prolific queens continuously, and all that. So, I mean, it depends where you live at, how much that queen has to work.
Yeah,
So,
Ian mentioned that in his latest video. He was talking about his nukes, his 5s, his 6s, and he didn't expand on it, but he said it, that he's keeping those in a tight, confined, smaller unit to preserve the queen's laying capacity, right? And I'm sure that's what he was saying. She can plug that out with brood, and she has to stop laying. So he wants to stop her laying. Because that's a new queen, and you know what they do? They'll lay till the end of October if you let them. And
because he was talking about, instead of having her way out in a 10 frame box, she's in a 5 or a 6. I guess it's a 6.
Right. That little one was a 5.
Keeps that a tight little nest in there.
And he puts the super, so they can go up. They can get rid of all that honey up there, but she can't lay more than those 5 frames.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard him talk about that before, so it was kind of neat to hear that on that video.
I mean, now just what he was saying. It's, how would you call it? Because of his environment, number one, where you're at, Brad, and where this is how they, it's like, here's the commercial guy, how he manipulates, and it's not in any book or anything else. It's, you got to either experiment with that and figure that out yourself over years of experience, or being taught by somebody else that has done it in your area, which I found it really good.
I tell you what, it's working for me, raising a lot of young queens. Because
are you changing them out every year?
Yeah, I started last year doing that, and I mean, my last year I lost 1 hive, and it was just from a bad laying queen. But the years before, while I was keeping my 2 and 3 year old queens,
You're dying.
They were dying off in the wintertime.
Right.
They would just,
And that's what I've come to conclusion too. Like you know, where those people will say, let's say the backyard beekeeper, yeah, I lost hive and I treated and I did everything right. Well, that's because you had a 3-year-old queen in there.
yep.
And I think you're proving that in yourself, that fact that you got a fresh queen year to year. Yes, you're going to have a percentage of those queens. Even I got that one out there I was telling you about earlier on. She's not laying for the last week and a half. I'm going to check her again this coming Thursday. I guarantee you she probably isn't laying anything. And she's gone, you know. That would have been a dead apple come springtime or halfway through the winter.
Even the
Because
That's
ones
one of the
that-
hardest things, though, isn't it, Charlie? We all think, "Oh, I just give them a chance. Oh, I'll just nurse them along.
Yep.
I'll just kind of leave." But that
Yeah.
doesn't work.
and that's
The
what
apiary is a
do.
pure meritocracy. You cut the mustard, or you get your head taken off. Like, and I talk like that, but I still struggle. Oh, she's trying. You know, maybe I'll just give her. It's very, very hard. It's very,
Well,
very hard.
what I find is when and I agree with that, Brad. I do it all the time. I'm guilty. And the thing is that I end up wasting more resources trying to nurse that queen along when I
Yep.
could have just made a split, let them make a queen or give them a queen and done. Instead, you go into a couple different hives and take out frames of brood and prop her up, and you're just giving her a crutch, and they won't replace the queen because they think, oh, I got all this brood. She's doing fine.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and she's not
If
doing
you,
anything.
If you have to feed a colony brood, except for specific situations of what manipulations you're trying to do, if you have to just feed colonies brood, that's a fool's errand, in my opinion. You stop it. You pinch that queen, you take the resource that's there, you either add a mated queen or you take that brood and bees to boost something else. Like, do not feed a colony brood. That is the worst thing you can do.
Oh, I did that for 5 years. I've been doing bees now for 8 years, and the first 5 years, as you know, just having a few hives or what on the 20, I used to do that all the time. I'd see a weak hive, I'd go grab 2 or 3 frames of brood out of this one and put it to her, and then you think she's doing good, but she's not. She just hatched out the ones from this other queen over here, and then you wait a couple of months and she's back down again. And
oh yeah, you can't tell if that's her pattern, if that's her, you know, that's like a hive living on dialysis or something. It's like constantly has to be propped up and cleaned up and made something of.
The last 2 years that I've been just putting all new queens, I have not pulled a frame of brood from a hive and given it to another hive. I just either do away with it if she's failing, or just replace her. Just go get one out of my 3 frame mating nukes and just replace her.
Don't wait till it fails to fix it, because if you do it before it fails, you've still got resource there. You let it fail, you've got nothing. Fix it before it fails.
Well, that was like I was listening to a recorded Zoom meeting. It was on another channel. It was done a couple weeks ago, and they got into it was about queen rearing, but then they got into laying worker. And then one guy was saying, "Oh, I dropped a nuke right in the middle of all that, and it done fine." And I'm thinking to myself, I put cells in, I put mated queens in, I put virgins in, and guess what? They all get killed and whatever. And it's like last year, Brad said, "Shake a damn bees out there in the grass and be done with it," and I had a queen that wasn't mated because there was no drones out there at all. I used her as some, I used her about grabbing her by with my fingers to help paint her to figure out, how to get used to that.
You had to take the gloves off, right?
Yeah, you got to take your gloves off to do that. But anyway, I wound up just you shake the damn bees out there in the grass and be done with it. If they're that point.
I do.
Did y'all see the video?
If they already got the point of laying workers, I shake them out and use my equipment somewhere else.
That's right. Well, the guy did say if it was early on, that's what he did with these nukes or whatever.
If it's just queenless, that's another thing. If it's queenless and you
Well,
start
yeah,
laying
if it's
going.
cleanless and you don't see any laying worker evidence, yeah, that's one thing. But when you're
That's
in
that's
there,
still resource. You could save that if you got a mated queen.
right?
But to me, the only thing to do with laying worker is shake them out and learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did that happen? And what does it mean? Like, it means you've just lost a whole ton of resource because you just let it sit there.
Well, it's just like Struttenbucker just said, the darn laying workers screw your damn comb all up because they're going to put drone every
Yeah,
damn place,
yeah.
and you don't want drone comb.
Oh,
And once you
That's
do
right.
that, they don't change it back.
I got a question that I need. Being that I've just been steady growing hives over the years, I've never had to take brood comb and put it in the honey supers. Some people will put a queen excluder and they'll let the second box just go to honey. Well, my question is, now that I'm starting to build up comb, I'm going to go back next year and raise some of my brood comb up, let them fill it with honey. If you go to like 9 frames in a 10 frame box, will they draw a brood comb out fat?
Yes,
They will. They will do it.
yes.
Okay, I didn't know if they would, because I've always just used regular.
They'll add to it. They'll add to it to normal.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I've
In the
always just
honey
had
part.
regular honeycomb
and
that
you'll
I've
see
never
it.
had brood in.
You'll see it because what'll happen is when you harvest that, if you get a nice frame that's all capped, right? So you'll see it
Mhm.
because what you'll see is you'll see the shape of that brood patch. You'll see the honey that they had over that they drew out and capped, and then you'll see where the brood was. It may not be drawn out quite as far. It may just be a little,
Yeah.
but you'll be able to tell just kind of a shadow of where that brood was, even though it's drawn out and capped with honey in it. I see it all the time because I do that. That's
Okay.
part of my management. So yeah.
Yeah, because I used a lot of my honey supers this year to leave honey on the boxes because I don't want to feed as much. And since I have more hives, I had to leave a lot of my good honey supers that I have drawn out comb. And I know when I come back in early next year, they're gonna have laid in them.
Hmm.
But I want to bring them back up to put honey in. I just didn't know if they would draw them out because I've never tried it.
Yes,
I've
sir.
never. Okay, well that's good to know.
Yes, yes, sir.
Because the way I cut my comb by hand and I gotta have it drawn out fat.
Mm.
I don't like scraping a bunch of I like it to be drawn out fat to
Yeah,
cut.
the caveat that, like I said, uh, like you're obviously going to have, well, I mean, when I do it, uh, quite often the honey flow has started, and obviously we're well into honey flow by the time all that brood is gone, and they're starting to backfill that. So
Yeah.
they're, the center of where that brood was, they're behind. So if you get through the honey flow and the honey flow starts to wane or it ends or something, and they haven't drawn that out to the same depth as the
Yeah.
rest of it over the top, then they'll just cap it. They'll just cure it and cap it. So you will see two different depth of cells in there. But all things being equal, enough honey flow and everything, they definitely will bring that right out.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what I was worried about. Is like during the heavy flow, if they would draw it out fat. Because
Yeah,
usually
for sure.
when the flow starts to go down, I usually just leave all that's uncapped and stuff for the bees. But anything that's capped, I usually take.
And I'll mention too something that I see people say, and I've not experienced. I'm not saying it doesn't happen or it's not true, but I have not experienced. My honey is a very light honey, right, Bob? It's a
Yes.
very light colored honey, very, very light colored honey. And people sometimes say, well, if you use a comb that's been used in the brood nest in the honey super, it'll darken your honey. Not experienced that at all. My honey is almost water white, and I've not experienced that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know because I'm almost out of drawing comb. I got some supers that are on the hives right now that I'm going to take off, but I've been using a lot of them to leave on the hives, and I was just worried about having enough for next year to bring back up that make honey.
I prefer to keep my honeycomb nice and pristine, but that's just because I'm fussy, right? It has nothing to do with
Yeah.
honey production. It has nothing to do with anything. Um, and I always have, you know, either brood comb or brood stained comb in that first box because of the way I manage, right? I go to a double in the spring and then shake them down and put the queen excluder in. So now that second brood chamber now is a honey super. It's going to have brood stained comb or full on brood comb frames in it. And I've never seen any issues at all.
Well, guys, it's about 20 minutes 11. I'm going to go ahead and shut the chat down for tonight. We'll see everybody Friday night on mine at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and all that. So good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Y'all.